Leonardo DiCaprio's story is often told as a straight line from child actor to global icon, but the truth is far more layered. It is a journey shaped by rejection, relentless ambition, and an unusual kind of emotional inheritance. Before awards, fame, and recognition, there was a boy growing up in a fractured part of Los Angeles, surrounded by instability, yet driven by an unshakable desire to rise above it. His life becomes less about sudden success and more about endurance, about what it means to keep going when the world keeps saying no. A childhood in the edges of Hollywood, DiCaprio's early years unfolded in a version of Hollywood far removed from its glamorous reputation. The streets around him were marked by poverty, crime, and uncertainty, where survival often mattered more than dreams. As a child, he observed more than he should have: strained families, struggling neighbors, and the constant movement of people trying to escape their circumstances. Yet even in this environment, he developed a sharp awareness of human behavior. That awareness would later become the foundation of his acting, allowing him to understand characters not as fiction, but as reflections of real life. A mother's sacrifice and silent strength. At the center of his upbringing was his mother, a woman who carried the full weight of raising him alone. She worked multiple jobs, navigated financial hardship, and still found time to support his early interest in acting. Her determination was not glamorous. It was survival. She escorted him to auditions across the city, often relying on long commutes and limited resources. For DiCaprio, watching her resilience became a defining force. It shaped his understanding of discipline and sacrifice, and it gave him a deeply personal reason to succeed beyond recognition or fame. The absence of stability and a distant father. His father, though not absent in spirit, lived a separate and unconventional life as an artist outside mainstream society. Their relationship was more philosophical than practical, filled with ideas and creativity but lacking consistent presence. This duality, one parent grounded in survival, the other in artistic exploration, created a complex emotional environment. DiCaprio absorbed both influences, the discipline of hardship and the freedom of expression. The imbalance between stability and creativity would later fuel his ability to shift seamlessly between grounded realism and imaginative performance on screen. Early auditions and constant rejection. Entering the acting world as a child meant confronting rejection as a routine experience. Casting rooms were crowded, competitive, and often indifferent. DiCaprio faced repeated dismissals, not because of lack of effort, but because of the sheer volume of competition. He was just another hopeful face in a long line of children chasing the same dream. Yet each rejection added to his resilience. Rather than discouraging him, it sharpened his determination. He learned early that persistence mattered more than immediate approval, and that survival in the industry required emotional endurance. Breaking through with television roles. His early professional work came through small television roles that provided exposure but limited creative fulfillment. These parts offered visibility, but they also risked defining him too narrowly. The challenge was not just getting work. It was avoiding being boxed into roles that would limit his future. Even as he gained recognition, he felt the tension between opportunity and artistic restriction. Success in this phase was not freedom, but a new kind of pressure. The need to prove he could be more than what early casting decisions suggested. Growing pains and the fear of being typecast. A major turning point came when he joined a popular television series that introduced him to a wider audience. While the exposure was significant, it also created a label that threatened to define him permanently. He was becoming known as a television actor, rather than a serious film performer. This realization sparked urgency. Behind the scenes, he pushed aggressively for film auditions, determined to escape the limitations of early fame. It was not dissatisfaction with success, but fear of stagnation that drove him forward. This boy's life, an artistic transformation. His transition into film marked a critical evolution. Acting alongside established performers forced him into a new level of discipline and emotional depth. In intense dramatic roles, he began channeling personal experience into performance, transforming vulnerability into authenticity. These early film experiences revealed his potential to critics and filmmakers alike. More importantly, they validated his belief that he belonged in cinema. It was no longer about proving he could act, it was about proving he could endure the emotional demands of serious storytelling. The rise of pressure and identity in fame. As his career accelerated, fame introduced a new psychological challenge. Recognition brought opportunity, but also scrutiny and expectation. The more successful he became, the more he was expected to maintain perfection in every role. This pressure created an internal contradiction: public admiration versus private uncertainty. Rather than being defined by comfort, he was driven by discomfort. He consistently chose complex, demanding roles that pushed him beyond commercial safety, reinforcing his reputation as an actor committed to craft over simplicity or predictability. A legacy built on persistence. Over time, his career became defined less by individual moments and more by sustained excellence. He worked with acclaimed directors, took on emotionally demanding characters, and built a body of work marked by intensity and commitment. The journey was not about instant recognition, but accumulation of skill, experience, and resilience. Each role became part of a larger narrative of persistence. His success represents not just talent, but the long-term result of refusing to be defined by early rejection or external limitations. Conclusion: beyond the screen. Ultimately, Leonardo DiCaprio's story is not just about fame or achievement, but about the cost of ambition and the complexity of identity under public scrutiny. Behind the performances is a life shaped by sacrifice, pressure, and relentless forward motion. The boy who once navigated hardship in Los Angeles evolved into a global figure, but the emotional foundation remained rooted in struggle and perseverance. His legacy is not simply what he achieved, but how consistently he continued to push against limitation in search of meaning through his work.